Hey everyone, and welcome to Let's Be Real Podcast. I'm Nain, and I'm your host for this special episode. It's special because we're doing it in my room, and James is literally right here by my side instead of via another country. And today we'll be covering the latest details on the Avengers sequels, Robert Downey Jr. back in the MCU, a new segment, Yay or Nay, and our way too early 2026 Victor of the Picture, which is going to be hosted by James, of course. And speaking of James, I'm joined here by him. So sit back, crack open a cold one, and let's just dive straight into this, Comic Con 2026 has just come out. We know 2024 has just come out. So I'm just looking at the dates here. That's why I'm getting so confused. And it's been a pretty lackluster Comic Con in my eyes.
Yeah.
The only juicy news that came out was pretty much at the end of the
MCU saving it, eh?
Yep. So basically, we'll forget the whole MCU panel. The only thing that's noteworthy is the end. What has been confirmed is Avengers 5, changed from Kang Dynasty to Avengers Doomsday, and Avengers Secret Wars just got a logo touch-up.
Yep.
Now, Avengers Doomsday, you're thinking Doomsday? Is that the guy from DC? No, it's not. It is...
That was my first thought, yeah.
It is Doomsday in regards to Doctor Doom. So this is going to be releasing in May 2026, with Avengers Secret Wars releasing in May 2027. The directors in Marvel has gone back to their bread and butter, and that's the Russo brothers. If it ain't broke, don't break it, or
Don't
fix it, whatever.
Say.
The writer is Stephen McFeely, who co-wrote Infinity War and Endgame, and the villain has changed from Kang to Doctor Doom. Fantastic Four is going to be in both films, and the Thunderbolts, which everyone cares about, is going to be in Avengers Doomsday. So, James, what are your thoughts on this? And we'll get to the juicy news in the next segment.
Okay, well, let's break it down. We'll go from what you said at the latest, and we'll go right up from there. Last thing is the Thunderbolts and Avengers Doomsday. Why? I just don't know why it's necessary.
It's the asterisks.
It's the asterisk. Well, I think the asterisk implies that it's going to be connected in some way, and that they aren't going to be a team or something. Oh, who knows? But hopefully they all die in that Doomsday one. But no, I think there are a couple of interesting characters in the Thunderbolts team that I think can play a cool part in it. I think US Agent or, phony Captain America or I don't know what else I'd call him. But yeah, that guy. I thought he was really cool in Falcon and Winter Soldier show. And I think obviously... it's Yelena, Black Widow's sister. I think, especially with Florence Pugh in that role, I think they can be good contributors in a movie like this. It's just not one that I'm particularly interested in. Fantastic Four being in both films is understandable. It seems like MCU is kind of fast tracking the X-Men / Fantastic Four Fox universe. They're fast tracking that into the MCU. It feels like at this point. The only thing is, that we did see this coming, but the first one's in the 60s. How it connects to this, I have no clue. I reckon it's going to be in the 60s in one universe, and they'll come to the...
Sorry, that actually got retold. It's now called Fantastic Four: The First Steps or something.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, whatever that means.
Cool, great name change, right? Yeah. No, so that stuff, we saw that coming, and... I'm not happy about Fantastic Four being a big part of these next two Avengers series, and that's primarily because of the cast. And I've been very vocal about how I feel about this cast. I think all of them, except for Ebon Moss-Bachrach, was a miscast. So I don't care for any of them, and I really do hope they prove me wrong. I actually think they can prove me wrong with this one. So we'll see if that comes to the fray. But yeah, and then Kang to Doctor Doom, I don't know. I think you could have built up Doctor Doom, and we'll get to who's playing Doctor Doom soon, which is obviously probably the biggest bombshell coming out of Comic Con. But Kang, I thought you could have just recasted him, played him off in the next Avengers movie, and then led into that bigger, I guess, cosmic entity that could actually be the main villain for Secret Wars. Maybe you could have had Kang being kind of like a puppet, and then Galactus or Doctor Doom being the actual puppeteer behind the scenes. I feel like that would have been the better way to go, particularly as Kang. We saw, I think it was at the end of Ant-Man, thousands of variants, just recast.
Yep.
You have the easiest villain of all time to recast, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could have done that. But the Russo brothers, let's get to the Russo brothers. I'm very, very torn on how I feel about it because we look at what the Russo brothers have brought into the MCU, and it's Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame.
All bangers.
I think if you look at all the MCU movies, they're all 4 of those are in the top 10.
With at least half of those, if not more, in the top 5.
Top 5, yeah. I would say Civil War might be in that 10, or it might be just outside the top 10, but it is very much in that conversation. And then Winter Soldier, Infinity War, and Endgame are all in that top 5 realm,
sure.
I would say. So, yeah, I mean, they know what they're doing inside the MCU. So I'm not really too mad about them, but the thing that makes me a little bit angry, and it's in conjunction with the other news piece that we're going to talk about soon, is that the Russo brothers, it's going back to what they're familiar with. They know the Russo brothers are going to give us good stuff, and we can feel, assured that we're going to get great Avengers movies. Maybe not great, but like good Avengers movies are going to be solid. Russo brothers, they know what they're doing. But it's going to feel too familiar to what we've had before, I feel. If you're trying to create this next phase or this next era of the MCU where you can keep making audiences feel refreshed about it, the Russo brothers aren't the choice for that.
No.
It's a safe pick, but and it'll be good. But the potential for greatness, I think, lies in other creatives to come in and do that. I don't think the Russo brothers are the safest choice. And this whole Comic-Con, this whole panel was to show that they're going back to their roots in terms of their talent, and it's a winning formula for them. But how sustainable is it? Mm-hmm. I don't think it's sustainable. So consider me excited, cautiously optimistic, but in no way does this give any indication of any kind of sustainable longevity to the MCU. I know we're going to get something cool in here, but that's really the extent of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do agree with you. I mean, mainly the thing I agree with you most is the Kang. Like, it's so easy to recast a role. Kang was only introduced to the mainstream in Ant-Man and the Wasp 2, where he actually had a movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, who would have watched Loki, which he was in as well? I think a very few of the or the hardcore fan base obviously would watch it, but the casual ones, they wouldn't watch it. They wouldn't even care if you just casted someone else as Kang, and that's probably the way they should have done it, because you've already spent... When did Loki 1 come out? 21? 22?
Yeah, 21, I think. Yeah, the first season at least.
21.
Yeah.
So then that's at least like three years of building up towards something, and they are suddenly going to pivot to Doctor Doom, and Doctor Doom is literally only going to have one piece of content to build up towards, and that's going to be Fantastic Four, and maybe Thunderbolts.
I think Thunderbolts. But sorry to interrupt you. Galactus is said to be the villain of Fantastic Four.
I was getting there, which is stupid.
Sorry. Yeah, carry on.
Seeing you brought up, that is also stupid. Why would you have, Fantastic Four's version of the Joker in an Avengers movie and Galactus, which is an Avengers level threat, in the Fantastic Four movie? It should be swapped around.
Yeah.
Like, that is so stupid. Like, Doctor Doom does not have enough powers compared to Galactus, unless Galactus is going to be like, that puppeteer sort of person.
Yeah.
And then it's going to go to Avengers 5, 6, and Avengers 7 is when Galactus will properly be there as a threat, similar to what Thanos was. How it took about 2 Avengers films before it got to him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we might be seeing here, plus an extra film. But if I would be so mad if in the Fantastic Four, Galactus is a proper villain and he gets beaten and that's it. I would be like, nah.
I'm out of the MCU. I'm not doing that. Yeah.
So stupid, eh?
That would be horrible. Galactus needs to be, a puppeteer in that, controlling some other mid-level villain. Yeah. Like I said to you before, man, like Fantastic Four needs to be about the actual Fantastic Four, them overcoming the obstacle to become that kind of family, that unit, that group. The biggest obstacle should be how they work together.
Exactly.
Rather than going into one of the biggest comic villains of all time.
Yeah. And it's in the 60s, like, why?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, when it comes to these Avengers movies, it's all about characters. I know the Russo brothers alongside the writer Stephen McFeely. They're gonna be good, really entertaining movies. There's gonna be a ton of surprises in there that we're gonna really love, especially as comic fans. Just stuff that we couldn't imagine that we'd ever see ever. But the emotional core, where does that come from? What characters are the emotional core? We knew this when we went into Infinity War and Endgame. They had a hierarchy of characters. Tony Stark, top tier. Then you got Captain America. You got Thor in those second tier. And then you got the OG Avengers. Hulk, Hawkeye, Black Widow and stuff. And then you got some other loose stranglers in that fourth tier. Where does it come from? What's the hierarchy of these characters now?
It'll probably be Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and those top tier.
Yeah, but with those, there's very loose characterization around those characters.
I think Spider-Man, people only care about Spider-Man because the name's Spider-Man.
No Way Home was good, did him justice, but
1 out of 3.
1 out of 3. Yeah. In terms of the other characters, Doctor Strange, they're all very loose. Yeah.
But at least with Doctor Strange, he's been shown in terms of that leadership style or leadership sort of persona, similar to Captain America. You could compare them almost similar, just not quite as in depth. They're both seen as a leader and,
True. But I mean, if Doctor Strange makes the ultimate sacrifice in Secret Wars, I mean, I'm not going to care that much.
No.
Not in the way Iron Man,
It's because we haven't had 10 years built up to that moment. We've only got 5, 6. Oh, no, it'll be close to 10 years, but with a trash-ass build.
Really bad build, yeah.
Like the first 5 years, which is pretty much from Endgame to now, has been very bad. There's only been about Loki and No Way Home. That's been good. Deadpool and Wolverine, it's on the fence.
Yeah, I don't know. They just they needed to build it up better. Not every Avengers movie needs to be this gigantic 30 heroes in one story kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can just have that small team conquering like a world-ending villain and then build it up from there. Maybe that villain is being controlled by another, and it needs to feel more organic. This feels forced, but with the Russo brothers and everything else in it, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens.
All right, now we'll go on to who is playing Doctor Doom. And this was done in the most... When I say the reveal of who the actor is, I'm sure by the time this gets released, you would have seen it at least
100%,
1,000 times. But he emerged from a crowd of Doctor Dooms.
It was hype. It was a hype reveal.
Took off his masks, spread his hands in the air, and the crowd went bananas. And that is, of course, Robert Downey Jr. He is back, not as Iron Man, but as Doctor Doom, and he will be playing the protagonist, which is interesting. He's going to be, obviously, in the Avengers movies, Doomsday and Secret Wars, and there was a rumor that this is going to be a Tony Stark variant who became Doctor Doom instead of Iron Man. I hope that's not true. But yeah, what are your thoughts on RDJ back in the MCU and not back as Iron Man, but back as a villain in Doctor Doom?
Oh, I am torn on this one. I mean, he got his Oscar and now he's like, I'm going back for gold now. By gold, I mean money.
He needs another 50 million paycheck, right?
Yeah, man. I wonder how much he got paid to come back to this. I am torn, but I like the idea of him being a Tony Stark variant rather than Victor Von Doom being Doctor Doom, because it can provide that emotional core that I just talked about in the last segment. It's too late to start, Victor Von Doom being a multi-Avengers movie type of villain. You need more of a build-up for that kind of character to be, I guess, formidable. For us to have some kind of emotional tie. But if we see these characters going against Tony Stark as Doctor Doom, the emotional pull will be their relentlessness to not, kill him or attack him or try to convince him that he's good. And you can see this Tony Stark being very bad. So I think in terms of pure storytelling, that's the best route to go. I think in terms of, comic accuracy, it's stupid as. And if you are going to do that, then you've wasted the chance to do Doctor Doom properly, something we haven't seen done yet. So maybe Doom's not the best move for this, as we just discussed. Probably Galactus is. But yeah, if they are going to do the RDJ as Doctor Doom, it makes the most sense for it to be a Tony Stark variant. it based on everything we've seen about the multiverse so far, and it makes something compelling. What if we see Tom Cruise's Iron Man go up against RDJ Doctor Doom? They can do some really interesting stuff with it. Who makes the killing blow towards Doctor Doom? What if it's Spider-Man in that final battle? He doesn't want to hurt him. He doesn't want to end him.
That's
so
true.
that makes it more compelling for the characters that haven't had enough characterization. So I hope it's a Tony Stark variant. Either way, it's a lose-lose, I think, in terms of how you use this villain. But it's going to be interesting. In terms of RDJ just joining back the MCU, I would have loved a more subtle kind of cameo appearance as Iron Man. They go into the multiverse, they need to recruit people, and he's like, no, I'm done. My family's more important. It's another variation of Tony Stark. But yeah, I'm torn. But the reveal was cool. All those Doctor Dooms, and he walks out and he does it. Yeah. What are your thoughts on it?
I'm similar to you, but a bit more on the negative side. I mean, obviously, it's cool to see RDJ back in the MCU, but I didn't expect him to be back this early. I mean, we clearly could see that he was starting to make a career out of himself outside of the MCU with the recent one from Oppenheimer
100%.
and stuff like that. So I would have liked him to explore more non-franchise type movies, more of those type of movies, but with different directors, like, with him, with Villeneuve or Fincher or someone else like that. A lot of other people to speak about. But it just seems like as if this just seems like as if he got his Oscar. I'm out of money, even though we know he's not out of money. I also go back, and the fact that he's coming back as not as Iron Man is also another stain. I mean, sure, if he's a Tony Stark variant, cool. But I think what most people would want to really see is just him as a different version of Iron Man. Maybe there's a iconic comic book where Iron Man is out very, very much an alcoholic to the point of death. Might be a bit too dark. I love where I take these. So maybe that version, but a bit more PG, or something else, a different version. But him coming back as Doctor Doom, I mean, Doctor Doom, they could have used any other actor for this, They could have, this is the chance for them to build someone else up.
Yeah.
In this franchise. But no, they just went back to Robert Downey Jr. I mean, you could have literally built the next Robert Downey Jr. if you casted someone else. Maybe not quite to that extent.
Yeah.
Because he's a villain. But, just put someone else on the map as an iconic villain. I can understand it. I mean, they had 2 duds of Doctor Doom already.
Yeah.
And I guess the cast of the Fantastic Four is a little bit older. But whether he interacts with the Fantastic Four or not is a different story.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, it's just damage control because it's the most safest option to do this. It provides an immediate emotional core, that being a Tony Stark that's evil, essentially. And you got to consider it. This movie releases in less than 2 years, Avengers Doomsday. So they need something quick and immediate. They don't have the time to build up that character. There's a million things I would have done differently after Endgame. They did none of that. So now they're in this position where they have to immediately right their wrongs. This might be the safest way to do it, but the golden age of the MCU is over. I think we know that. After these next 2 Avengers movies, that's the chance where they can get back to their slow build, I think.
But it just goes to show that if stuff's not going their way, they can just fall back to the same writers, directors, and the same actor that built them back up.
Oh, it's not going to feel... It's not going to hit the same.
I know, but with Doctor Doom, you had Cillian Murphy there that expressed interest. Why not just cast him? We all know that he's a capable actor.
Yeah, he was. The Oppenheimer guy's going at it.
Yeah, he's a fantastic actor, Academy Award-winning actor. You could just have chosen him. The crowd would have gone insane anyway because it's a rumor that would have come true. But hey, RDJ.
That is true. I think in that case, they're definitely going the Tony Stark as a Doctor Doom route. It makes the most sense to me. But yeah, it could have been anyone. They had more time to do this, but hey, we'll see what happens. If the Secret Wars ends up being, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man with Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, and, the OGs of the OGs, or the most iconic actors in the superhero roles taken on and saving all the other MCU characters, Secret Wars is going to be very hype.
Could be, but that's just from nostalgia point of view.
100%. Yeah, it's not. It doesn't feel organic in the same way that in-game was. But yeah.
All right, this is a new segment that James created and made me the host of. It's called Yay or Nay, and the nay is intentional because of my name is Nain and he calls me Nay.
Everyone calls you Nay.
Everyone calls me Nay, so it's yay or nay. So pretty much we would pitch some latest rumors, pretty much anything, like rumors, hypotheticals, preferences. We say it, and just yay or nay, and a brief explanation as to why. So, James, I'll kick off the first one, I guess. I Am Legend 2, coming from the alternate ending.
Nay, because I just can't say nay with a straight face. Nay, because it goes against what the original ending had, and it feels like it's just creating that sequel because money, and it needs to. And just referring to the alternate ending is an injustice to the original ending that the first one had. Nay for me.
All right. Do you want me to keep going, or are we going to alternate?
Oh, you keep going.
Oh, I'll keep going. Okay. Cocaine Bear sequel.
Nay, because it was based on a real event, I believe, and it was successful financially. Again, it's just another thing for money. It's not organic. It needs to feel more real. I honestly would go with a different animal being on cocaine. Maybe that's a sequel,
Like
but it's a nay overall.
A raccoon. Because they're already feisty.
No, they're not intimidating.
All right.
Like a shark, maybe.
How? Okay, anyway, we're getting off topic. We're going into the snacking option now.
I feel like a snack.
Maltesers and popcorn mixed together in the same bucket. Yay or nay?
Nay, 100%. I went to a cinema in Australia, and they offered that combo.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, and they did like a scoop of Maltesers inside of the popcorn box. So I tried it, and I tried it in its most authentic film because it was presented to me from the cinema and not being created myself in the cinema. So it's a nay for me. I did not like it. My hands got all covered in chocolate. It was messy. It was dirty. Doesn't mix.
I agree with you on that.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to be massive for it.
Nah, I'm the choc top ice cream dunker. It's less messy.
Less messy. More respect for that one.
Hugh Jackman as Wolverine in the future MCU.
I like this. As long as they continue with the Hugh Jackman Wolverine that we got in Deadpool and you don't mess with that Logan legacy, I think as long as he's only a supporting character going forward and, just as a supporting character, I think that can work and it can create some excitement and be cool. But nothing more than that. At some point, we're actually going to have to close the door on Hugh Jackman being Wolverine. He can't do this till he's 90, and we're going to need a new Wolverine to kind of come in. But yay.
Yay. MJ, Mary Jane Watson, will continue to be Peter's main love interest in Spider-Man 4.
Nay, but I understand why they're doing it. Zendaya is a massive, very popular actress, so I get it from a financial and commercial perspective. But nay, in terms of storytelling, it will completely get rid of his entire sacrifice at the end of No Way Home.
No plans for Eternals 2.
Yay, you fumbled it. Move on. These characters don't work. They're not interesting. They're not the Guardians of the Galaxy. Just move on. Just consider it now and just move on, honestly.
Yep. Captain America, Brave New World, latest trailer.
Nay. And the trailer is designed to excite you. It did not excite me. Sure, there's questions, a little bit of intrigue, but not exciting. Nay.
Robert Pattinson's Batman to be in the DCU, to be the DCU Batman.
Yay. Yay. This is the way to go. I don't know what tone James Gunn's DCU is going to go down, but I love what Matt Reeves did. And to have two Batmans in that on the cinematic screen at the same time is too weird. It's too confusing. I don't like two different universes of the same character. Just put in the DCU Batman. It's perfectly fine. Perfectly easy to do.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Ratatouille 2.
Ooh. Yay. I'm going yay. It would be very, very difficult to pull off, but if done right, it can be great. I think there is potential for that to be good. Perhaps not following the same rats, but yeah,
A new rat that knows how to cook.
yeah. His
Kate-
son.
Or dad. Kate Bishop, the leader of the Young Avengers.
No. And that is not because I think Kate Bishop is probably the best character to lead the Young Avengers, but the nay comes from my absolute despise of a Young Avengers project. I know they're building it up. I can see they're building it up. At the end of, what was it? The Marvels? It was like...
Yeah.
Oh God,
so
man!
cringe.
Young Avengers might be one of the dumbest decisions by the MCU that hasn't actually happened yet. We'll have to see, but I just don't like the idea of Young Avengers. It's silly at this point.
And the last one, a Game of Thrones series, but is based on the White Walker's perspective.
Do they talk?
Sure. I mean, Game of Thrones don't really explore that enough, so...
They just screech. I'm gonna go nay, because I don't know how that can work. But I like the concept. I'm nay about the execution. Yeah.
Right. All right. That's enough for yay or nay. No doubt it will feature heavily on future podcasts going forward. Now I give the mic to James because this is his beautiful baby off a segment called A Victor of the Picture, except this one is not about 2025 films. It's about 2026 movies. James, mic's yours.
All right. So we got Victor of the Picture. It is the way too early Victor of the Picture for 2026. And it comes following the Avengers Doomsday announcement being in 2026. We got confirmation that movie is coming in less than 2 years. I don't know how they make the release date. Another little note that I needed to add onto one of our segments that we did. Fantastic Four starts filming next Tuesday.
Yeah, it does.
And it releases in less than a year. Less than a year. I don't know how that's even going to be possible.
Less than a year. See, at least with the Batman, it's starting next year, but it releases in 2026.
Exactly. There's more time. But we got some, and then I had a look at the 2026 release slate. There is a lot. We've been hyping up 2025. We've been using the Victor of the Picture to show all those movies going up and down in terms of the excitement. You guys know how this works. If you don't, go back to another Victor of the Picture where I explain the rules more thoroughly. I'm not going to get into it in this one right now. But 2026, we have our most earliest ones. Expect a lot more competitors come into the fray. What I'm expecting in terms of other movies to be added into this Victor of the Picture right now, Beyond the Spider-Verse. I don't know if it's going to make 2025. I'm sure we would have heard something by now if it was 2025. I think 2026 is probably more likely. Christopher Nolan movie. It's always 3 years between his films. 2026 makes the most sense. And the Alejandro Inarritu and Tom Cruise movie. It's been a long time since Alejandro Inarritu made an English-speaking film. Last one was The Revenant, which Leo won, and he won Best Director for it. So him with Tom Cruise and a lot of money behind it, I think it's going to be pretty cool, and it would probably make this. So look out for those ones when we do future versions of this. So let's start off. Victor of the Picture, way too early for 2026. We start with row 5. We have Frozen 3. I think Frozen is just a standard one. Is it great? No, but they're really good movies. And in terms of the animation and how much money goes behind them, you're going to have animation leading visuals behind it. And if they can create something compelling, that's just even sweeter. You got Aang the Last Airbender. The January 2026 release date does scare me because that is kind of
The dumping ground.
the dumping ground, 100%, the dumping ground for those kind of movies. And yeah, but apparently the creators left the Netflix series to join this one, so I have some hope that we can actually continue the series in a good way. Star Wars, New Jedi Order. That one is about, I think it's 15 years after the Rise of Skywalker. Daisy Ridley's Rey. I almost forgot. They're so forgettable, those movies. Rey leads a new Jedi Order, and we're going to find out what that is. I think just for that concept alone, it deserves a spot in this. I don't trust it that it's going to be good because Star Wars has been bad for a while now. Acolyte doesn't provide any confidence on that. Then we got Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. it's too early to start putting DCU projects right at the top of this kind of stuff, just because we don't know the tone, we don't know anything about the DCU, we don't know if Superman Legacy is good at this point in time. So yeah, it's staying in the it's staying at the bottom row for now, and we'll see what happens. I've heard that it's going to be a kind of a ruthless Supergirl, and that's a reason to be excited for. I like Millie Alcock as Supergirl, so she has the potential to go up, but she also has the potential to be dropped, say if Superman Legacy is really bad. And then we got Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. Don't know if this is the right direction for the Lord of the Rings franchise to go, but it is Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson is involved in some capacity for this, so the potential is very high, but the reality of where it's going to hit is probably not great. So I've stuck with the middle ground here. I've put it in the bottom row of Victor the Picture. I haven't put it in any higher ones purely based on, I guess, the legacy of the franchise. Yeah, because we saw the Hobbit series and the Lord of the Rings series. So, yeah.
That's true. It's good. It's a good first line, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know, oh, that's the second line. It's a good first line. I mean, Frozen 3, I thought that would have been a bit higher.
Oh, really?
Yep. But everything else, I think it's stock standard. Main thing about Frozen is that, you know, it's back to back, like Juggernauts. You know, those are films that literally inspire the next generation. I mean, you know, parents were sick of the song "Let It Go" when the first one came out,
Yeah.
and it was like, I'm pretty sure that song was on Billboard's #1 for fucking years. Probably still is on there if you check now. But yeah, everything else I agree with you. Lord of the Rings, I was surprised even. I thought that would have been an honorable mention. But no, I understand why it's all up there.
Fair enough. Yeah. Well, the fact that you thought that Frozen 3 was higher, you're going to see just how stacked of a year this is. I think it's going to be bigger than 2025. But we'll go to row 4. We got the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Star Wars hasn't been good, as we covered in the last one. The Mandalorian season 3 was the weakest compared to the other seasons. But the Mandalorian and Grogu on the big screen is something that I think people have wanted for a while. And they're two characters that have now etched themselves in Star Wars history. They are iconic by their own means in terms of, you know, you just show the picture of it. Most people know what that character is. And so it deserves the mention here. But as we saw season 3, the characters' journeys were quite thin at that point in time. Is there room for more of a story here? And so we'll find out. And honestly, it's just kind of cool that Disney Plus series are going on to the big screen now. So that's plenty to look forward to for that. I remember when me and you were watching The Mandalorian, we're like, this is kind of cool for the big screen if we got to see that. So this one is cool in that capacity. Then we got Toy Story 5 in row 4. Toy Story 5 deserves to mention because on one hand, we know that's going to be good. Pixar loves this baby and they know how to work it. They're really good with it, despite the perfect endings of 3 and the really, really great ending of 4. We know that Toy Story 5 is going to be a banger in itself. Jordan Peele movie rounds out the row 4 as well. Jordan Peele, will you ever release this movie, man? You've had this on my most anticipated. You've had it on Victor the Picture, the last ones, but it is releasing in 2026. Jordan Peele is releasing a movie, and that's all we need to know. It needs to be on Victor the Picture at this point in time. When we get more details, we will assess if it goes up or down based on that. And then we got the Daniels movie. Remember the Daniels?
Stranger Things?
No. Nay in Silence is worrisome. The Daniels directed Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yes.
And this is the next movie. That movie released in 2022, and now it'll be 2026 until the next movie. I imagine they're cooking up something good. They took the multiverse concept and made a better movie than the MCU has come close to so far. It is the best, might be the best multiverse movie ever.
Yep.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. So
even if you include Noah Herman, Deadpool, and Wolverine.
Exactly. So that speaks enough volumes. I like the Daniels to be able to convert, you know, very interesting high concept into their movies and create something beautiful from that. So you have to be excited for the Daniels movies. Any disagreements on row 4?
I would put Frozen 3 above above either The Mandalorian or a Jordan Peele movie. I think they all should belong on this tier, but I just think Frozen is its own beast.
It's fair enough. It's fair enough. I mean, perhaps the Jordan Peele movie just because there's no,
Context.
no context.
And Nope was good, but it was underwhelming compared to Us and Get Out.
Yeah. I still think he, whatever he does, it's going to be something very intriguing. People should go see.
For sure.
Yeah. But that's fair comments. Fair comments. All right, let's go to row 3. We got Nain's most anticipated. That is Shrek 5. Initially, he made a brief little stopover on Victor of the Picture of 2025. He jumps to 2026 after the confirmation by DreamWorks itself. So Shrek 5 is in row 3 for this one. I don't need to say much. Shrek is a film icon, and you should be excited regardless. So
100%.
Yeah. Shrek 4 may be a worry, but it's been over a decade since that, and we can move on and see where this franchise can going to go. If it's going to... let's just say, let's hope it goes the Puss in Boots route. You inject that kind of adult humor, the fun visual styles to it.
I think it will.
Yeah. I think it can be a lot of fun. If Shrek 5 is like Puss in Boots, The Last Wish... it's going to be really, really good. Then you got Dune Messiah. I have a really close friend who does not believe that it will release in 2026. But hey, IMAX had a conference call recently, and they had a Dune-related Denis Villeneuve project coming in 2026 in their official slate. It's got to be Dune Messiah. So Dune Messiah, it seems pretty clear that it is going to release. And if Fantastic Four can shoot and do post-production within a year, then Doom Messiah can do that as well. Doom Messiah, it's a tricky adaptation compared to the last one. So whether that can translate to being a great film, I trust Denis Villeneuve. It's going to be great. Hence why it's in row 3. But it's in row 3 because there is some skepticism about this adaptation to be had, whether it can actually reach the heights of part 2. The same. And then you got Project Hail Mary. You got Ryan Gosling leading Phil Lord, Christopher Miller movie, big budget IMAX film. I forgot the concept of it, but it's based on the same writer of The Martian, and you got the same adapters of that, except for the directors, the same writers and everything. So if you're looking for something like The Martian, Project Hail Mary is going to be something great. You have Greg Fraser as the composer. So it's going to look beautiful and it's going to feel great as well. So Project Hail Mary is the one to round out row 3 there. Nain, thoughts on this one?
I agree with every single one of them. I'm excited for Project Hail Mary and Shrek 5 and Dune. Obviously Shrek 5 a bit more because it's Shrek.
Yeah.
Project Hail Mary is actually based on a book. It's about a school teacher turned astronaut who wakes up from a coma, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Ryan Gosling and there was someone else. Oh, the chick from
Zone of Interest and Anatomy of a Fall. Yeah.
Sandra
Hüller. That's the one.
She's in it. So obviously that's a fantastic cast right there. I mean, Ryan Gosling does really, really well in these sort of fun type movies. And I feel this is a perfect film to be like that. And then Sandra Hüller is just that grounded, serious sort of actress, which I think should be able to balance that out. Dune Messiah. Can't bet on a Denis Villeneuve Dune film, right?
Yeah.
You just can't.
You did once and it worked out poorly for you.
No, it worked out perfectly because it got delayed.
No.
And then Shrek 5, so yeah, that's a good tier 3. I think I know where Avengers and the Batman's going to fall. I just don't know who's going to take that crown.
Yeah. Who's the third spot, you think?
I have no idea. I can't think.
Oh,
is there an Avatar film? Maybe that?
No, that comes out next year. Probably get delayed to 2026, though.
Probably.
We'll see. We're going to move on to row 2 now.
I do know what is my number 1.
Yeah.
This will reveal it.
We'll reveal it. All right. We got row 2 here. We'll start off.
What is that?
Yeah, we'll start off with what Nain's question out, The Dish. I'm surprised that Nain doesn't know who it is because it comes from one of his favorite directors of all time, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. I've not heard of this film at all.
The Dish is a UFO-inspired film by Steven Spielberg. It will be releasing in IMAX. It's got big money behind it. It's led by Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor.
I've heard of this one now.
Yeah. So this one's starting to... I think it only just got announced to be in 2026 very recently. So Yeah, Steven Spielberg is entering. If he's releasing a film, you know it's going to be on Victor of the Picture. With a cast like that, with it being an IMAX movie, too much reasons to look forward to it. It deserves the Row 2 spot. And then you got Avengers Doomsday. And Avengers Doomsday is an interesting one because the excitement doesn't come from a guarantee that it's going to be high quality, like The Dish. The Dish and Avengers Doomsday are
Polar opposites.
Polar opposites, but two very different reasons to be excited for stuff. So Avengers, any kind of Avengers movie is going to be incredibly anticipated for many different reasons. Just Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom is enough. We're not saying it's the right decision. We're not saying it's we're for it or anything like that. We are kind of in the middle on where we feel with it, but you got to be excited for it in the sense of, I just want to see how that looks, how it's going to feel. You got the Russo brothers coming back. There's so many reasons to look forward to this one and just see how the MCU is going to progress. It's been very messy. So the excitement comes partly from a curiosity factor and part from just, that MCU goodness that we like, such as stuff that we got in No Way Home and Deadpool Wolverine. This is going to be it on a whole new level. So hopefully it delivers. But, once we get more information, it has a chance to get that top spot, but it also has the chance to fall the fuck off Victor of the Picture because the MCU is the most volatile franchise except for Star Wars right now, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah. But Nan, thoughts on these last two?
No, I know it's number one. Yes, I agree with that.
Oh, you think it's going to be number one?
I know it's going to be number one. Ain't no way it's not going to be number one. But yeah, I do agree with it. I can understand why Avengers is that high. I might have put it a tier below. I don't know what could replace it, but I understand your justification as to why it's that high.
Fair enough. Yeah, I only made this as a last-minute resort. Once we get more details, it can drop down, but stacked year so far, man. I mean, these next 2 years, there's going to be a lot of different fluctuations between these kind of movies. So
For sure.
We'll see what 2026 brings. But we're going to go now to the winner of Victor of the Picture. Nene gets a dub with this one because it is the Batman Part 2. The Batman is Nane's favorite character, in case you don't know the inside joke. Nane loves the Batman. But the Batman Part 2 follows the Batman that released in 2022, directed by Matt Reeves, and it was phenomenal. It was a really, really good movie.
It was.
It's not the best standalone Batman movie. We've had better, but it's damn near at the top.
Probably top three for sure.
Top three for sure, yeah. It's just so well done. Matt Reeves is a master. He's created this universe, and you can tell they're taking the proper time and care for it. It's been delayed purely for the script.
Which is good.
Yeah, normally studios love to rush that stuff, and they'd be like, no, just go with what you have, change it on the fly kind of thing. But it seems like they really want to take their time with this movie and to do it well. So Batman Part 2, I have full confidence that everyone should be excited for it. And it's going to be great. Something Avengers Doomsday doesn't have.
Exactly.
So plenty of reason to be, and for that one, it is deserving of Victor of the Picture. But these are way too early predictions. So do you predict any changes from these?
I can see.
Okay.
You don't need to zoom in.
Just know how good your eyesight is.
FYI, guys, James has a laptop and he's showing me and he's trying to zoom in. And I'm like, I'm not that old yet. I think there's potential for that bottom tier to move up more in regards to Frozen. I think probably Mandalorian might drop a bit more. Maybe also Avengers Doomsday. I think right now it will be between Batman and The Dish fighting for that number one spot. Unless we get something really, really good from Avengers Doomsday, that might take it over. But I think right now, the Batman, that's its spot for the rest, for the next 2 years. I can't see anything else beating that. I mean, the first one was so good. The cinematography was good. Acting, even the visuals and everything. It was just so good.
Yeah.
Maybe because of the 3-hour runtime, whether Matt Reeves decides to go with something maybe not quite that long or even that quite long or just similar, it will still be good. I just know that Robert Pattinson is a good Batman. Matt Reeves really understands his universe.
Yeah.
We got the Penguin TV series as well, so a better judgment might come out from when that comes out, and maybe this would affect the Batman Part 2 because Reeves did have a hand in that as well.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, From the Penguin, it looks interesting, looks good. So yeah, it's Batman's Forever. Otherwise, it's the only one I can really see is the dish will maybe Project Hail Mary. Or Dune. Sorry, Dune.
Dune's there, yeah. I mean, even
Dune.
Shrek 5's in the fray, you know?
I think those last three tiers, I think if there's a guaranteed one to drop, it will be Doomsday. Avengers.
Oh, yeah.
I feel that is the easiest
It's a
one
tough
to
year.
drop.
I mean, Toy Story 5 can even ascend at this point.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, perhaps even, you know, something like Star Wars New Jedi Order or Supergirl. If it looks that great, then they really can pop out. Perhaps even Lord of the Rings.
I won't give you Star Wars. I think there's just been so many negative things around it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Lord of the Rings has been more of a miss lately within the past 20 years. Because that's exactly when it finished. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, I'm really excited for that because I know the comic book, and if they adapt that, people are going to love it.
Yeah, and you got Craig Gillespie directing the one. He's really great at bringing out fantastic female performances. So I'm excited for Millie Alcock from that one.
Up and comer.
But in terms of the top competitor, you say the Batman remains untouched for the foreseeable future. If my predictions come true, Beyond the Spider-Verse, a new Christopher Nolan movie, and the Alejandro Inarritu / Tom Cruise IMAX movie comes to the frame, if that's going to be a reality, there's some competition.
There is. I think Nolan would take that top spot. Batman would not go anywhere below that top tier. So probably Nolan at number one, Batman, and then take a pick out of the other two.
Oh, I mean, I'd put Beyond above Batman. Nah. There's a reality that Batman can fall to the third spot.
Favorite superhero versus favorite superhero right now.
But Beyond is finalizing some of the best Spider-Man movies we've seen.
That's true. I would agree. I think it's definitely in the three, just where you put that. I mean,
stacked, yeah, though, eh? You look at it in one kind of picture.
Especially the third, second, and first tier. That's really stacked. And then the fact that you have Toy Story in there.
You're going to have also other ones that come to the fray as well. So, you know, Martin Scorsese might drop something. Yeah, you'll have those surprise ones that really coming out. You know, you might even have Top Gun 3 come out. Who knows? There's a start date been announced for that. So, yeah, who knows? 2026 is going to be stacked though. Otherwise, Nan,
you want me to
conclude
finish
the
it off?
potty.
All right, that will do us on this week's Let's Real podcast. Hope you've all enjoyed today's show. Be sure to like us. For sure, I can't really say subscribe because I don't know if this is going up on YouTube. We're in audio. Those of you that love our faces, I'm sorry for you guys. I don't know why, but thank you. We appreciate it. But you're going to have to listen to us for the next few episodes. So clean out your ears for sure. If you want to clean out your ears, head over to Spotify, wherever you pod from, and that's where you can find us for the foreseeable future until we figure out the backdrop in my room and how to sort everything. And then that will be a hype potty when we come back to video. We won't let you guys know. Yeah. We'll just drop in. You guys can be blown away. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Flick us a message on Instagram if you want to talk about any of these topics. Otherwise, we're Movie Gains. We'll see you later.
See ya.